Alright, I'm about to do the second layer of the pour on the board, and I forgot to start the video and I started a little late. But all I did so far is mix up the clear epoxy, and I put just a tad bit, a little scoop of deep blue sea, and that's what's in there now. We're going to continue on. I'm going to add just a little bit of this Caribbean blue here. It's going to give like a little lighter color in the epoxy. If you look over here, you can see that is not a shadow. That is this color right here that I just put in there. That's what you see there. And then the next color is going to be the rainbow blue. And that's pretty much what the rest of that is. And we're going to mix this up and then pour. That's a lot. That's good. I kind of want this one a little bit transparent, so I'm not going to put as much as I did in the first batch so we can see through it a little bit. Now let me just mix this up. That's my favorite part, is watching this. So it's still kind of clear in the epoxy, and then boom, it just, like venom, it just spreads. Look at that, so cool. The edges are still clear though. If you can see around the edges, I gotta get over there and incorporate the clear epoxy into the color. And that is a really nice color, I like that. So what we're doing is incorporating the clear with the pigmented color, because the pigmented color will mix with a little bit of the clear epoxy right near it, but you got to really get the sides in order to get that other clear epoxy to mix in with the colored epoxy, so everything can be colored. If not, you'll have a little bit of spurts of clear, and when you have that, then it's not completely solid in the color, but it kind of looks cool if you did it that way as a pigmented effect, or I'm sorry, like a 3D effect. All right, let me grab the ruler, my stir stick here, and see how translucent this looks. I think with having a dark blue background, even if it is not as solid as I'd like it, or it's more translucent, you can see through it, which you can see clearly. You can see the wood grain. I think I'm gonna leave it like this, honestly, because as thick as it gets, the thicker it is, the more opaque it is, not as see-through. But with having that blue as the background over there, it's you're not gonna be able to see through it. And if you do see through this, you're just gonna see into this. So I'm gonna leave it like this right now. I just gotta wait for it to get up to temperature. Once it's up to temperature, I can pour it. So let's see what the current temperature is. I need at least 95 to 100. I like to shoot for 98 to 100. Oh, perfect. Look at that, 99.1. So it is time to pour. Let's pour. And as I start to pour, I had those brackets on here holding the pieces down so the wood would not float. And I took them off because this is solid enough now. I know this ain't going anywhere because the current layer of epoxy that's in there is stuck to the bottom. So I can pop those off so you can see the whole thing without anything disrupting it. All right, here we go. I'll do it towards the camera and then pour it this way. My favorite part is the pour. Yay, look at that. I don't even know if I'm gonna do any swirls in it or not. It looks pretty good as is. I hope I poured enough. It looks like I might be short. Might have to do a third layer on the top. Maybe not. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do another layer. I gotta get in that hole right there. Yeah, I miscalculated. What it is, around the edges back here, the epoxy is leaking over on the edges here and going around the wood to the back, because there's a small little channel in the back there, a little pocket, and my epoxy is escaping to back there to fill it in. It did not do that very much on the first pour, but it's doing it now. It's all right though, because what it does, it'll cover up all the little holes and small crevices and stuff and fully saturate this wood. Even on the back side, it'll penetrate. Oh, sorry, my head tapped the camera on accident. There we go. Get this last little bit in there. Like Folgers, I think it's their thing. Good till the very last drop. Is that Folgers?
It's Maxwell House.
Maxwell House. Oh, Folgers is something about best part of waking up is Folgers in my cup or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this design won't stay here, but if I do like swirls in it, the epoxy is going to move. It has this thing called an exothermic reaction because it does heat up. You saw a while ago it was right at 99 degrees. I guarantee it's a little bit hotter right now. It kind of acts like smoke, and it's going to roll as it heats up and stuff. So I can leave this little design in here like this. Will not stay though, I guarantee you, because it's going to roll around and do whatever it wants, and it's going to have a different design. But just for purposes, not purposes, 103. So typically you don't want it to get over 110 before you pour, but you can see there's a lip here. Actually, if I look at this, it's not even level. If I turn it this way, you'll see it roll down. I don't know why. I know the boards are perfectly flat. Now if you watch it, it's going to shift that way. You see it rolling? That tells me the mold is not flat. Either way, I'm going to have to do another layer. But let's get the bubbles out of this one. First, I'm just going to pop it with a fire. Use a heat source. You can use a blow dryer or a heat gun. Blow dryer kind of doesn't really pop it too much. It actually just push it around. It'll move it. A heat gun will pop it, but it also pushes it. But the fire doesn't unless you hold it on there for a little bit longer. I don't want to do that because you could burn the epoxy. Yes, it does actually burn. And then I'm going to show you the trick with the alcohol. This is 99% isopropyl alcohol. It leaves a really cool effect. Watch this. Let it sit there for a second and you'll start seeing it kind of move around and stuff. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Let me see if you can see it taking place. Maybe I got to do a bigger droplet. There it goes. You can kind of see it. You see it rolling? Let me point. You see my shadow right here? It's starting to roll. This little lighter bit, this lighter circle spot, you see it rolling. It's kind of like clouds in a storm. But if I zoom back out, you can see all the other big spots now. You see the big ones? Big, 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 big. They're going to just keep rolling. And that's what I was telling you. They kind of act like clouds in a way, or smoke, and they roll. And that's what the epoxy does. As it starts to cure, it has this exothermic reaction, and it rolls around until it solidifies. And we'll hit it with a torch just to burn that off the top. Actually, it's already dried and evaporated. And actually, if you look really closely on the edges, you can kind of see the translucency. Let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about here. you can kind of see through the epoxy to the wood. And at this angle in the phone, it's hard to tell, but you can see the reflection on the top side of the screen. You can actually, right there where it's kind of whitish, reflecting off the wall of the mold, you can kind of see where that reflection disappears. There it is, it comes back, but then you can see the wood through the blue because it's not completely saturated with the epoxy pigment. And that's what I was going for, so it's exactly what I wanted it to do. Let me see what the surface temperature of it now is. Now, when you put alcohol on the epoxy, it starts to cool it down because this kind of acts like a fire extinguisher, and it will. Now it's up to 110. It shouldn't get much hotter than this. I'm actually about to turn this fan on. I forgot to do that. I didn't want it on while I was talking, but it will kind of cool it down because you don't want it to get overheated because it can crack. But yet when you go pop bubbles, you are heating it up. And I'm going to pop some bubbles now, so let me turn this fan back off so it doesn't blow my flame out. If you look really close, you can kind of see the bubbles popping. They're little bitty micro tiny bubbles. I may come back and do one more popping with the heat source, but I don't want to add too much heat to it. Although the heat does get out a lot of the micro bubbles, I just don't want to harden it too fast, because if I do put heat in there, one, you can burn it, but also you can cure it too quickly. And when you cure it too quickly, it gets really hard really fast, and you don't want that because later that could become brittle and crack on you. So you do want to kind of just keep it at a cooler temperature as much as possible without kind of forcing it too bad. I'm going to do a swirl here because if I do the swirl now, it won't move as much now that it's been sitting in the tray for a few minutes, and I'm kind of done adding a heat source to it. I say that, but watch me go back in and do it. But then I'll go ahead and calm it down with the alcohol. I was trying to get a little cool design up in here. But this will move. This will not stay the same. But you can see the lighter blue in there off the reflection. The lighter blue is the Caribbean blue color that I used. And I'm just playing around with it because I just don't want it one solid color and kind of look weird. So do that. Then I'm going to spray some big droplets in here. And then the alcohol does its own thing. It makes a different effect look to it. And you can see it work. It's slowly rolling with the alcohol in there now and gives it a cool little design. So there you have it. And the way I'm looking at it up here, and it's really hard to tell in the video, but it looks like there's about this much of clear on the top. And it does give that 3D effect. And that's what I was going for. I do like this. I'm actually happy with this one. This is pretty nice. What do you think?